state of calamity is now up over in Albay, the province where a very restive Mayon volcano is located. Pag-asa is seeing a weaker Typhoon Chadang over the weekend but still warns of heavy rains due to the habagat. And people are still talking about the supposed rift between President Marcos's vice president and cousin. But one congressman says it's time to give it a rest. Fast, focused, and fearless. Here's a roundup of stories we're watching now. I'm Sean Yao. Albay is now under a state of calamity due to Mayon volcano's increased activity. Mount Mayon is currently under alert level 3, which means that there is an increased tendency towards a hazardous eruption. The local government is now implementing mandatory evacuation among residents living within the 6-kilometer permanent danger zone. Those who will be moved to safer grounds today are some 10,000 residents across 26 barangays, covered by the 6-kilometer radius. These areas include Camalig, Daraga, Ginobatan, Legazpi, Ligao, Malilipot, Santo Domingo, and Tobaco. Albay is setting up over 100 sites for evacuees with a goal of 0 casualties as Mount Mayon continues to grumble. And FIVOC says that the alert level over the Mayon volcano can still change. In an interview with A Big Story, FIVOC's director Teresito Bacolcol said they are studying several parameters that may lead to Mayon being placed under alert level 4. The country's top volcanologist also painted 2 scenarios if and when Mayon flares up: an eruption with sporadic explosions or a relatively quiet one like what happened in 2014.
We are waiting for an increase in sulfur dioxide. This would imply that new magma is intruding to the shallower part of the edifice. And we are also looking at increase in the mass flux as evidenced by longer lava flows. We are also waiting for an increase in the seismicity as well as the inflation of the edifice and of course minor explosions.
For his part, DOST Chief Renato Solidum explained to 1PH that Mayon's danger zone will be extended to 8 kilometers once it reaches alert level 4. But Solidum did clarify that there will not be extraordinary restrictions in movements outside of the danger zone. What this means is that going to nearby cities and municipalities like Legazpi and Daraga will still be allowed.
Kahit naman may taas ang alert level, kung titingnan po natin, yung ibang mga aktibidad niya ay hindi ganun ka-eksplosibo. Pag lang pumasok doon sa bawal na lugar like 6 kilometers permanent danger zone, and then pag tinaas po yan sa alert level 4 ang ating binagbabawal, hanggang 8 kilometro o pwedeng ma-extend.
And Typhoon Chadang has maintained its strength as it moves north-northwest over the Philippine Sea. Pag-asa last spotted the weather disturbance some 885 kilometers east of northern Luzon. It is packing winds of 130 to 160 kilometers per hour. Chadang will not hit land, but Pag-asa says that the typhoon is now approaching the period when it will be closest to the Philippine landmass. A weakening trend could also begin over the weekend. For now, Typhoon Chadang is not likely to bring any rain showers to the country, but it will still enhance the southwest monsoon, which means that heavy rainfall in affected areas can still be expected. The State Weather Bureau expects Chadang to leave the Philippine area of responsibility on Monday. We have more stories for you after this quick break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Sean Yao. Vice President Sara Duterte says that it was Senator Aimee Marcos who eventually persuaded her to run for the second highest office in the land. This is another one of Duterte's rebuttals to Cavite Representative Elpidio Barzaga's statement that House Speaker Martin Romualdez was the one who convinced her to run under the Uniteam ticket. VP Sara stressed that it was, quote, acutely inaccurate to claim that the Speaker pushed her to run in 2022.
Nag-text sa akin si Senator Aimee Marcos. Message niya ako and she said, pwede bang ikaw na lang ang tumakbo ng Vice President? And then I told her, let me just talk to my mother and my family. President Bongo, Senator Aimee, we agreed na okay, sige, we can do this. We can try to do this.
Meantime, the internet is abuzz over a clip of the VP that is now making its rounds online. In a speech last year, Duterte explicitly thanked Romualdez for his support to her vice presidential bid.
I'd like to personally publicly thank Congressman Martin Romualdez for taking me in Lakas CMD and accepting the challenge to be my my two campaign managers during the last election. It was not without irritations and challenges, but you did very well.
And some lawmakers had reacted to the alleged rift between Vice President Sara Duterte and House Speaker Martin Romualdez. PDP Laban Deputy Secretary General and Congressman Johnny Pimentel said there's no need to exaggerate the issue, as the conflict had already been resolved. Senator Aimee Marcos, meanwhile, confirmed that she was indeed the one who convinced Duterte to run for Vice President. Congressman Johnny Pimentel talked at length about the supposed Duterte-Romualdez rift on the Chiefs. Catch that conversation tonight at 8:30 p.m. only here on One News. Let's move on now to sports, where the Philippine women's football team is headed over to Australia this weekend to prepare for the upcoming FIFA Women's World Cup. Marty Bautista has the story.
What was once a dream has turned into reality for the Philippine women's football team after qualifying for the first time ever to the FIFA Women's World Cup. That's why the team is working double time to prepare for one, if not the most prestigious women's football tournament. The Filipinas will fly to Australia for a training camp on Saturday. Before this, the New Zealand embassy hosted a send-off party for the team. The Women's World Cup is co-hosted by New Zealand and Australia.
The importance was, first of all, just to show respect for what they've achieved, because it's really amazing what they have achieved here. Being the first team to qualify from this region is amazing. Not been done before by a Filipino team, so just amazing. Galing, mahusay.
The Filipinas are locked in on training in a bid to have a productive and successful campaign in the tournament. It was January last year that the Philippines qualified to the Worlds after beating Chinese Taipei at the Asian Cup.
Like Ina said, we're really excited, and we appreciate you all for waiting for us to come from training. But that's what it's all about. That's why we're here, is to play the sport we love for the country we love, and hopefully do it justice and make everyone proud.
Players are expecting intense training sessions in Australia under head coach Alan Stachich.
We expect nothing less because we know how much work we need to do to be able to perform at the level that we all want.
After the Australia camp, the team heads to New Zealand for the group stage of the World Cup. The Philippines is in Group A with New Zealand, Norway, and Switzerland.
Of course, the girls have been doing this non-stop since 2020, July of 2021, preparing for the Asian Cup qualifiers, and now we're here finally. They're, just doing their best, like I said, to earn that spot and represent the flag as best as they can.
The team opens up its campaign against the Swiss side on July 21 before taking on New Zealand and Norway on July 25 and 30 respectively. For News 5, Marty Bautista, we are One News.
One News Now will be back tomorrow at 7:45 a.m. Have a restful weekend. I'm Sean Yao. We are One News. All sides, all the time.